Hello and welcome and good evening. For many of you who have not seen the show before or have, you notice there's a new introduction. Is that not beautiful, that introduction? And there's one that's beautiful at the end of the show too. So thank you, Richardo Jackson and Campbell Health Solutions, for that magnificent new intro. I think she's absolutely beautiful. Positively Positive is the only show of its kind. I tell you that right up front, because we take HIV positive stories, affiliations, organizations, safe places, governmental agencies, county agencies, and if you have something that's HIV related, then you are going to be able to be on our show, Positively Positive, with moi, your host, Susan Mintz. And that's what this show's about. We're going to have recurring guests. We're going to have new guests. We're going to have facilities. It's just an amazing show with opportunities for you to learn, be informed, know what's right, know what isn't, where to get tested, what it's about. That's what we're about. We want you to be informed and get tested and know what your status is and get the best help and the best treatments that are out there. So welcome to Positively Positive, and you will know all you need to know about tonight's guest when we start. Oh, he has come back for a second time. He is wonderful. I call him the mannequin resurrectionist because he made mannequins better than ever when they were all destroyed for different reasons. He's an artist. He is a stylist. He loves drama, so I dressed up exceptionally well for him. Ta-da, all the jewels are out, Philip. So I just want to say thank you for watching Positively Positive. And if you want to be on the show, you'll see information across the screen at the bottom where you can contact us if you want to get whatever you want, whatever you need, we're here to help. So without further ado, many of you know when my glasses come off, hope my chapeau doesn't, when my glasses come off, it's time for me to say to my guest, ow, Philip Porter, come on in.
All right. Can you hear me?
Yes, and I talked for 11 minutes to the phone and to the screen and did everything. And that's just, I said, that's live TV. That's live. I said, that's way. I said, normally when I panic, no, I could talk for an hour about stuff, but I had to laugh. I said, that's what you do. If you didn't get on the first time, go back off and come on. And then I said, you know what Positively Positive is about and what this is about. I didn't get a chance to say what my guest was about, but my guest tonight is Philip Porter. And I did not get a chance to say, I want to talk about testosterone. And the men went, ugh. And the women went, yay. And dating at the tender seasoned age of 65. Hard enough and moi.
65.
Heterosexual for me to even begin to think about it. And Lord knows, as a widow for 30 years, there's no way that would happen. The flip side is Philip was mentioning in a conversation with a very good friend, he was mentioning that he might want to venture into the dating scene for just a nice friendship or relationship. I said, oh, testosterone and dating. Oh, that's a perfect show. So welcome, Philip Porter, into the show. And we may be some kind of a little delay, so don't get into it.
Well, I appreciate wonderful to see you again and wonderful to be on again. I have such a blast every time we get together.
I know.
You know, be it on the phone or be it here.
We're having a little delay, so don't, we're having a little delay for whatever reason, technology. I don't care anymore. I want you to tell people how it started out with you with the Dallas Art Institute, but then how you took it to the mannequins. But then I want to work into what we talked about with your, the testosterone issue when you were younger and where that went, because that's a really important subject today for a lot of men and women with what we're dealing with. So start from the beginning and take me into the testosterone zone as a child.
Well, as far as like the going to school and all that, it's like, I always wanted to go to a fashion school, and we started out as Dallas Fashion Merchandising College. That's where I graduated from in '78, and then later on, Art Institute of Dallas bought them, and we were grandfathered in. So I actually have a diploma from Art Institute of Dallas, and of course, I did use the mannequins with the hair in the face.
We
And
are
they were looking a little bit ratty around Dallas area, and I
Yes.
started restoring them and redoing all of that, quite a name, and I did that for decades until I stopped using ones with the hair in the faces anymore.
What I wanted to know is I told people about Dallas and the mannequins and all that. I want to know when you were younger what happened with the testosterone and how you felt as a boy or a girl. Talk to me about like we talked on the phone.
Well, I tell you what, I mean, I did not find out until decades later, like later in life, as to when I first moved to Washington, like back in 2005, that I once got into the healthcare system. They ran me through the mill. I've never had the ability to produce my own testosterone. And that's I got this written down here, hypogonadism. Males and females can suffer from this. And that kind of explained a lot to me as to why I always felt more female than male growing up, with more, like female interest and all that. Nature versus nurture, you'd be the decision of that. I can't judge that. But, like once we discovered that and started, like testosterone replacement therapy, I felt okay being a man. And it wasn't until that I just, felt more female.
So what age did this start though, that you felt more female than male?
Birth.
Oh,
from the very start. Birth.
So how did you
yes,
handle? So how did you handle high school, or how did you handle growing up like this? How did they find out this?
Well, they found out this through medical testing, and like I said, this was decades later. Nobody had an inkling about this. I did not know anything like this existed, but I was basically your basic sissy in grade school, high school, all this. I did not really get picked on a lot. Of course, I identified more with the girls than I did with the boys. But I did not really have a lot of problems. I mean, if I was picked on, it wasn't enough that I can really remember or really fuss about, now. But I was always more involved in girls' sports. Like I was the very first boy on the pep squad and the very first boy to try out for cheerleader in high school. And that was really interesting. I did not get elected because I was not seasoned enough. But, those are the kind of things that I did. I mean, I was never in home economics, surprisingly, because they didn't let boys in back then, But I drowned myself in art. That's my thing. I've always been an artist. I've always been maybe more of an introvert than an extrovert. And so, my art was my therapy. That's what I could always throw myself into and, to deal with my issues and all that. And I still do that to this day. But of course, this is before the years that I, lived as a transgender woman. As soon as I found a physician or a psychologist in Dallas, Dr. James May, in 1978, I went and saw. He thought I'd be a good candidate. We started on hormone therapy, did all this. Lived as a female for like 30, I think it's 8 years by last count that I counted when I actually sat down and did the math. And when I got into the healthcare system up here in Washington, they ran me through the mill, and we discovered that I have this hypogonadism. And like I said, males and females can suffer from this. I could not produce testosterone from the day I was born.
Wow.
Puberty was nothing. I mean, I didn't go through puberty. I never had any facial hair. I didn't have an Adam's apple. I didn't have any body hair, any of that. And once we started putting testosterone back in, I felt okay being a guy for the first time in my life.
And how many shots? How did the procedures go though? Where were the shots? Did you had male genitalia though? You didn't have breasts?
I still did. Yes, I kept that. I did not have anything done with that. Yes, I had breast augmentation as a female, but I kept everything down there. Yes, I never wanted to, even as a small child, even feeling more female, I knew what little boys had and what little girls had, but I never wanted what little girls had. I never had the desire to have any reconstructive surgery down there, or gender reassignment surgery, as they call it these days. Back then it was called your generic sex change. But, I have everything down there, And probably about 6 months into the testosterone therapy, I started feeling, better about being male. I started seeing facial hair. I started seeing body hair. I had not had that before. I was not one of those transgender women that needed electrolysis. I didn't have any facial hair. I never could grow any, I was, very blessed or cursed, depending on how you want to look at it. I think I
Yeah.
was blessed, I think I'm blessed today. It's all everything happens for a reason,
So today, how do you feel though? I mean, there's so many conversations now about children who don't know if they're male or female. There's so much of, I don't even know how to describe it. When an 8 years old or 11-year-old or a 13-year-old says they feel like they're a girl, this one says, I think I was born. How can any child that young and any doctor or any parent think that a child of that age, it's one thing if you're 20s, 30s, 40s, etc. And even then there's so much discrepant, there's so much out there. But what I'm saying is that how does a parent even begin to think that a child at 8 or 11 or 12 knows who they are and would even consider it? I think the parents need to have their heads examined.
I think they do too. Well, there is a, international reality star that started out as a little boy that believed he was a little girl. They made a reality show out of the whole thing. And, today, this young lady, I will say, has had like 5 sex change surgeries and will finally admit, I still don't know who I am after all that. I think the child needs to grow up and make their own mind. We go through stages as children. We try on different roles. Like I said, I just happen to feel more female than male, and I don't think that I would have appreciated if my parents had interrupted. Of course, we lived in a different time back then by giving me hormone blockers and things like that to prevent me from growing up, because I think you have to be of a certain mature age to decide on your own, and
So
I,
you live in, you're in,
how I feel.
You're in Spokane, right? You said when
I
last
am in
time we
Spokane right
talked.
now. Yes, I grew up in East Texas. I'm in Spokane now.
Yeah. The other thing
Yes.
is then when we talked and I said to you, the other thing was about this testosterone. I find that fascinating because I think that might be a dilemma or some kind of a medical situation with others, that they aren't getting to the root of it. And perhaps a young girl isn't producing estrogen, or they aren't producing, a man isn't. But did you always like boys and men, or did you still try to be with women? What was your issue there?
I was always more attracted to men and boys, from as far back as I can remember. I mean, I love women. I think they're very beautiful creatures, and I've got them up on a pedestal, like almost so high I can't even touch them. But I appreciate you lovely ladies. I mean, I really do. I've got you all up on a pedestal. I just worship you. I really do, honestly. But I mean, as far as attraction goes, it's always been, males.
And I dressed up for you tonight. I said,
and
because he's my friend. He's in Spokane, Washington. He's been on before. I said, I'm going all out with all the Jews.
And you have.
Yeah, so eat your heart out. These are the crown jewels I'm wearing for my friend Philip Porter. See, we had technical issues, but who cares? When the show airs, big deal. So I'm talking for 5 minutes and I'm talking into a telephone and I'm talking to you and I'm talking to myself. Who cares? That's what the fun. It's all about having a good time and learning at the same time. But I want to know now, because I've never dated. I never even understood what the word date meant. So I never dated. Even after Jeff died, I had affairs. I had a lot of affairs. And if there was someone that's how I looked at it. If I wanted you, you were it. And that's about then the last decade and being with my church, God kind of really shut me down and said, get off this, no more. You had enough. But the main thing is, the other thing is, you said he did. I swear, I had so much before I was married, and I had a couple during my marriage, and I had after, and then when I joined my church and I got my head in order, and I said, what are you doing? You're never going to find anybody better than your late husband. You loved him dearly. Focus on your career. Focus on your books. Focus on people. And forget all this stuff. So dating is not even in my I don't even have it on. If it was 100, 1 to 100, what's your priority? I'd be 101. That's where I'm coming from. This is so much fun for me. But tell me, you said, and you're 65, you said, right?
65, yes, right now.
And you're thinking you may want to start dating. And I want you to talk to the people out there about what it's like to be openly gay, proud of it, not have any issues with your sexuality, and you're looking for maybe a significant relationship, even if it's not love, a companionship that's fulfilling. Talk to the people about what it's like at 65, homosexual, out of the closet, and beginning to date. I find that whole part. Talk about sites and talk about whatever you want. The show is now yours.
Well, we certainly have a lot of gay dating sites right now, which, we didn't necessarily have like decades ago. And that's very helpful. Of course, you go in there, I've learned, because I've already started, and, know your own value, know your own currency, know your own everything. Keep in mind there are scammers out there that are going to try to take advantage of you. Be specific in your profile, what you are looking for. Like with me, I'm looking for somebody around my immediate area, and I put that in my profile. So if I hear from a guy in Wisconsin, he's not read my entire profile. So next, what am I going to do with somebody in Wisconsin from Spokane? I mean, honest to God, I want somebody I can meet. And if you meet somebody and they can't, make the scene and meet you and keep putting you off for about a month next, make sure that your profile picture is nice and clear, just a nice, pleasant smile. If somebody has their dog and cat on there, nice dog and cat. I'm not dating cats and dogs. Next, you got about 1 second to get my attention, like in your profile pic. And then it's like, swipe, to the left or click the X or whatever. But, there are good people out there, but you, like I said, you kind of have to guard yourself because we do have a lot of problem with scammers now on dating sites, and you don't want to be strung along. You don't want to be taken advantage of. You're certainly not going to be asked for money and send money. I was born at night, Susan. It wasn't last night, and I haven't had that come up yet. But like I said, I'm just very specific in what I'm looking for. And you just kind of, read the signs and see what's going on out there. If it turns out that you meet them and, they give you the long, sad story about, well, like I'm in a partnership, but it's loveless and we're getting a divorce next, get the divorce, come back and see me. I think, Susan, and I think that you will agree with me. The one thing at my age that I don't want anyone to do is I don't want my time wasted. I'm out for something very specific, and, you either fit the bill or you don't fit the bill. And like I said, you just have to be strong within yourself. Don't let anyone string you along. Don't let anybody give you a sob story. And like I said, I'm looking to meet people in the immediate area. And without 3 weeks, if you can't actually meet them in person, there's something going on with them. And you probably don't want to get involved in that, because like I said, I'm very specific in my profile, what I am looking for. I want to make new friends. If it goes further than that, fine. But, specifically, I would like to meet, maybe somebody special. And, like I said, I don't know how much time I've got left, but let's not waste the time that I have, and let's not lie to each other. Let's,
One thing here's my profile. 78, childless widow, had been married to a bisexual man who died from AIDS. What else do you want to know? Can you see me on a profile? Oh, I'm looking for that. I'm looking for a nice widow, 78 years old, doesn't want sex, don't even go there, don't even think about it. And she says she was married to a bisexual man who died from AIDS. She's a widow, doesn't have any biological children, and she's in Boca Raton, and she's perfectly content because she says all the resources she needs to have a really great life, and she's doing everything she wants to do except make a movie or have a series from my book, Committed to Love, if I didn't plug that a few times. So what do you have to offer someone like me, never mind someone like you too, where the market even is probably more compartmentalized? We don't have time, and we can spot a BSer in a heartbeat.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Exactly.
One word out of
Well,
your mouth.
so
Go.
one word out of my mouth. I tell you what. Well, I think you have it all. I'm envious of you. You got it all. You live in a lovely location. You got water there. You got everything there. You know what you want to do. And, like I said, you have to know what you want to do and what you're looking for. You can't just put, oh, well, I'm looking to date. God knows what you would attract, And, I like I said, I think you have it all. And I think you've got your head screwed on straight,
But, well, it's screwed on.
Well, I'm
I don't
telling
know. I don't know how straight it is, but it's screwed on. Listen, I have to ask another thing. What are some of the dating sites for people who want to know where they might be able to find some matches in the gay world or in the bisexual world? Or what are some of the sites that you've been on?
Well, no, the one I'm having the most success with so far is Adam for Adam.
What is it?
There are like any number of other sites. It's like I can't think of one off the top of my head. Match.com has kind of a category where you can pick that you're gay and you're looking for gay, male for male. They're all about the same, actually. But like I said, you just got to watch out for the characters that are on them and that are approaching you. But the Adam for Adam, I seem to be having more success on that one for some reason than I had been on the other ones. And I'm not sure why that is. Because my profile is the same on...
What did you say was Adam for Adam?
Adam for Adam, yes. ADAM, letter number 4, Adam, yes.
Wow. And how many people are on sites like this? I mean, what would
thousands.
you say?
Thousands. No shortage.
Are you having a siren going by your house?
I'm having a siren going by and my window is shut. So we're waiting for it to pass. I think it's gone now. Yes. I'm downtown, Susan.
When this show airs, we're not only having a 3-hour delay in everything. He had a computer that was frozen. There's a siren going by in his house. We're having an audio where I'm on and he's on. I said, there's every little thing that could be wrong. And yet this show is so great. And people are learning about this. I mean, there's another show talking about testosterone and now talking about gay sites to meet.
Right.
Now, does Match.com, Phil, does Match.com, it has a subcategory for men looking for men or bisexuals?
Yes, you can click men for women, men for men, whatever. But, Match.com is one. Like I said, I'm having some success on Adam for Adam, like in my immediate area. Because like I said, you want to meet somebody in your immediate area. You don't want, unless you just are throwing it all out there and you're open for meeting somebody across the country. What are the chances of me meeting somebody from across the country? I would rather date the guy next door because he's next door, and he's accessible, so, theoretically.
You think the Adam for Adam one is the biggest one that you've gone on, that men would go on, that it worked? Is there an Eve for Eve?
I don't know if there's an Eve for Eve per se. I have not looked into that, but Adam for Adam is like, the one that I'm having the most success on. There's Match.com. There's a site called Tammy, if I'm pronouncing that right, Tamie, and it's more for people that want to hook up. And but the people that I've met on there that we did not necessarily have enough connection to hook up. By the way, meet them in public first. Don't bring them to your house. You don't want strangers to know where you live, but meet them in public first and feel them out. And even though there was not a connection with like some of these men, I've still got friends now, that were them, and they're still friends. So, you can also just make good friends, if nothing else, like on these sites. Now, there is a site called Sniffies that is really interesting because it gives you in real time, you can, put in your information and your location, and it will show you in real time everybody around you looking for just a hookup. And
like
of course,
Uber.
I'm downtown. Yes, Sniffies. And
it's like an Uber.
It's kind of like an Uber, yes. And of course, you also want to avoid of course, at my age, I want to avoid the gentleman that specified that they're married but curious. Next, let them go experiment on somebody else. I'm too old, been there, done that. And Like I said, that will just show you in real time who's in the, motels around me or who's like near me that wants to just hook up for an evening, and I've gotten on that and I haven't had really good success on that because I'm looking for more than a hookup, but like I said, there's no shortage of any of these sites out there if anybody wants to get on them.
Really? And do you have to pay to be on these sites?
Not at all. No.
Well, how do they make
their
money?
Well, they make their money off advertisements. They make their money off advertisers like you're trying to get, because when you go on there, you have to click through advertisers and things like that, people selling, like this or that or the other or whatever. You have to go through the ads if you're not paying to get through to the site, and you can just click the ads off. But, another thing about, dating, like, in our modern age, I was going to mention this and we talked about this. So the new, I kind of call them miracle drugs, or some people call them miracle drugs, the PrEP, the PEP, the Doxy, all of that keep you from getting infected. Of course, that's not a fail-safe thing. You still have to practice safe sex. It's kind of a fallback for me. And you get a number of people, well, do you do bareback, which just means without a condom, or do you have unsafe sex? And of course, I don't. So that's kind of a deterrent for some people that, don't want to use the condoms or whatever, but I don't want to be involved with them anyway, because I don't want to catch whatever they may have,
And you've been HIV. You told me you've been HIV negative your whole life.
My whole life, yes. I've been very careful.
Isn't that interesting?
I did not want to. I didn't want to die early. And that's,
But to be a promiscuous, but be active, sexually active your whole life, and at this age still it says something for condoms, it says something for safe sex, it says for honesty with the person who you're all having a relationship with, and then you talked about PEP and PrEP, and that's what Richard Jackson at Campbell Health Solutions, his company, that's what he is in West Palm Beach, and that's what he is about. Yes. He has all the different things. That's what it's about. Get PrEP. It's on the screen. Get PrEP. Get PEP. He's into testing, and that's why it worked so well between he and I. Because I'm coming out of a celibate mode with Jeffrey because he was so promiscuous. But when I heard about AIDS in '81, I had to shut it down. I loved him and I adored him, and I would still probably be with him. I would still be with him, but I couldn't allow that into my body. And so didn't have any of these medications then. But the flip side is that that's my book. Abstinence, celibacy didn't stop me from loving him, but it prevented me from getting infected. Yes. Where you have made choices that you have been very careful.
And I stand by this choice. If I meet somebody that doesn't want to have the safe sex, can't, not interested, not going to happen,
No.
That's just me,
Well, yeah, but it's smart. That's the way it should be. Anybody that it's like to me, the younger people today, let's say under 20 or seniors my age, the 50s, 60s, 70s, they're having unprotected sex. Some of them, I was getting into that, but when you came back on, younger people, they've never known anybody who's died from it. They don't know anybody who's positive because of the stigma. No one's talking about it. It's not out there in the media. Nobody cares. They don't care about it at all anymore. And then you got seniors, women like myself. If I were lonely or I needed somebody or I wanted to meet somebody, could leave myself so compromised because even back then they didn't have the medications like they have the Viagra now over the counter almost. You can go on these sites and you can get these performance enhancement medications by answering a few questions and they'll be discreetly mailed to you. What kind of, any woman who does this and thinks that she's going to be okay and safe is more stupid than I could even say to her. You are so stupid that you're believing every man, especially at our age, you're having sex with every decade of this man's life, same way as you be.
Well, the misconception that I find in the community about the PEP and the PrEP and, the other drugs is like it will prevent you from catching anything. That's not true. You still have to practice safe sex. It's like I've got, I've talked to more guys. Well, I'm on PrEP. I can't give you anything. I can catch anything. Yeah, you can. It's possible. just I'd rather do safe. And if they don't want to do safe, next, it's not worth my life,
So have you met anybody recently though that's in your area, or anybody who's been of interest that you have wanted to date or go out with, or not yet?
Well, I have, and I am, and of course, that I recently had a loss in my life, and that's kind of curtailed me for right now. I don't really feel like doing much of anything, but there's a few people that I've met, and like I said, but you've got to get to know them. You can't just jump in the bed with them, You have to get to know them and know their lifestyle, know their values, know their worth within themselves, because if they're just going to, go out there and sleep with anybody, they don't think too much of themselves, whether they believe that or not.
Right.
I think something of myself. Like I said, I made it to 65. I'd like to make it to however much longer I got without getting, any STDs or anything like that. So I'm kind of picky, and that, kind of makes me in the minority a little bit, but, that's okay. That I'm being who I am, I'm living my truth.
Yeah. Honey,
back in East Texas,
you're in the minority with you're in the minority with me. How's that? You're in the minority with me.
I am, yes.
And you talked about something. You mentioned self-worth, self-esteem. That's what it's about. Is, do you value yourself? I don't think that happens immediately. I think that takes some time and maturity, but I do believe that there's men and women who never, ever find that sense of self that can keep you going, that you can have things to look forward to, that you can have opportunities. And it's not always about having a companion on your arm, go to a movie alone, eat out alone, travel alone. I mean, if there was ever a time when you don't have to be alone.
Right. Well, it's like I take myself out by myself and I have a wonderful time. I'll go to the theater by myself. I'll go to Chili's next door by myself. I'll take myself out to eat. I'll take myself out on a date, and I'm perfectly fine with that. But I mean, if I met somebody that I could share some of this with, that would be great, but they've got a tall order. They got a tall order to fit into, I'm not just going to just pick anybody off the street. I've got a very good friend that is dating a gentleman, here, and everything was perfectly fine until, like he admitted yesterday, he dated the building slut and slept with her. Well, okay, my friend has not slept with this man yet. Now it's pretty much off the table. He needs to go get tested. There's not many people this lady has not slept with unsafely. So, that's kind of off the table now. He's going to have to go get tested. I mean, for himself, not for her, but just the fact that you slept with this person, yuck, ick. I mean, considering that she slept with everybody else, and is a known slut. Like I said, she values herself enough to know, okay, thank you for sharing that with me. Let's talk sometime, but you need to go get tested, but I mean, that pretty much is like just, ugh. I mean, even when I found out, she told me, I was like, ugh, yuck. It can't be that bad. I'm not that lonely,
No, I always say that's what a good vibrator's for a woman. Get yourself some toys, honey. All right. There's enough toys out there. You do not need to take any chances with your life. You can still practice very safe sex with yourself. The other thing, though, is,
yes, you can.
Is that to think about where we've come, and that's what, again, is so much fun. Is I started off, we didn't even have a communication. Your thing was freezing up, and I'm talking to you on the telephone, and then we went from your Art Institute to testosterone, the blockers. I just think that's the most fascinating, especially with the controversial issues with the kids and the people not knowing their identity at a certain age. I think that's not only frightening, but I don't think that people know how to handle it. I don't think certain psychiatrists might, or psychologists who deal with that, but I don't think 99.9% of the people you meet understands the dynamics that goes into a family where they're dealing with that. Do you?
I don't think that they understand at all. Like I said, I grew up with this and I lived with this, and I was, I lived until I could make up my own mind when I was an adult. And when you're an adult, you can make up your own mind. Nobody can make it up for you. And you can't run to mommy and daddy and say, well, I'm definitely a girl. I'm not a boy, like do this for me. You're going to pay the price later. Like I said, this famous reality star that grew up thinking she was more female than male has had 5 gender reassignment surgeries and will admit now, I still don't know who I am. I feel sorry. I feel bad. I have sympathy. I really do. And empathy.
I tell this story. Listen, when in the 80s, I'm still 13 years older than you, but we're still the same peer group as far as in our brains. So in the 80s, the disco was big. I mean, Jeffrey and I would be still, we were in Houston, which was, when we moved there, it was the 5th largest city, and it was open. Where we lived, it was everything. The theater was there, the restaurants were there, the gay bars were there. I mean, it was just amazing. And I mean, we'd be smoking, we'd go out with a couple of friends, we'd be stoned, and we'd go to the club, and we'd be dancing our heads off. We would have but all we do is had to pee. And I remember going into so many bathrooms, I can still see it. I went into so many restrooms. I didn't care if you took a penis out or if you were dressed like a man. We just wanted to pee and get back out and dance. There was nothing in my head that had anything to do with the sex of it all. I just wanted to be high, dance, and laugh and have a good time. And I didn't care who was doing it next door. It didn't matter whether it was a men's room, we went into a ladies' room. It was whatever you wanted. Boy, have those times changed. And there's something good about it. There's something not good about the times we're in that respect.
Well, I am telling you, it's like just, I don't know why this controversy in the schools. Just have like kind of a family room where one person can go in, lock the door, do their business, come out. I don't see any need for, anybody to, that is, transgender to go into the opposite. If they're in school, especially, like the tampon machines in the boys' bathroom for the, young girls that are going in there. Like I lived as a transgender woman for 38 years and, understand, I went into the bathroom. I took care of my business. I got out of there. I was not in there to confuse anybody. I was not in there to look at anybody. I was not in there to do anything, but that's me. But, the demands that are made, nowadays just to placate people, it astounds me. Yeah. It really does. It makes my jaw drop. Like, you've got to be kidding me. Yeah. Just have one bathroom where one person can go in, do their business, come out. I don't see any need for, tampons to be in the boys' bathroom. I just, don't see the need for that, but that's just me and I'm old school,
Yeah. But
I don't send me hate letters about that. I mean, you can if you want, but I mean, hey,
I think that there's something to be said about if I want to go into a ladies' room because I feel like a lady, it's okay. If I am going into a men's room and it says specifically men, I think that's okay. I think that there's such a what's the word to be used? There's such it's foggy. Remember, like I said with the camera before, we were foggy. There's such mutations and fog and veils and screens. Everything is people. I think something like a show like this, what we've talked about, I don't care if we were national or international. We're going to talk about honest subjects. We're not going to condemn. We're not going to promote. Yes, we're going to promote testing, safe sex, get on meds early, get to the right doctors, get to the facility. We're going to promote health and well-being, but we're not here to condemn you for doing this or condemn you for doing that or bully you and talk to you in a bullying way. That's what I don't like. This topic is bullying many times. Mm-hmm. The politicians, the people talking about it, there's an anger underneath. And I think there should be more of a psychology trying to get into the empathy behind it more than the
Well, I mean, that's me. Why is everybody so angry these days? I mean, I don't remember us being this angry, like decades ago. I mean, everybody is so angry now. But you were mentioning the club scene. Yes, back in the day of the club scene, you when you had to go, whichever line was shorter. And I mean, nobody cared. If you were a woman going to the men's or a men's going to the woman, when you got to go, you got to go. Nobody made us think about it back then.
And Phil, how many nice men I met who, even not even in the bar, but in general. There were times, even in other circumstances, when I really had to go, and there would be a man there, and he said, "You really have to go?" And I said, "I really have to go." And he said, "Go ahead, and I'll guard the door." I felt like a queen then,
Yeah,
for
go ahead in front
sure.
of me. Yes, absolutely.
Chivalry.
Yes,
Chivalry
yes,
is dead in the bathrooms.
yes.
Can
It
you
seems to
imagine
be.
someone
Yes,
to,
it does. It seems
can you
like
imagine
it
what?
seems like we're arguing over the bathroom now. Why are we arguing over the bathroom? Aren't there bigger fish to fry? Yeah.
Shut the door, do what you got to do, and leave. I mean, who's going to meet in the bath? I mean, there are people who meet in bathrooms. There was that story. What was it?
Oh
Was it
yeah.
the Dallas? What movie? It was big with that. Remember? And they met in the bathrooms, or they were. Oh, there was this
Yes.
politician. It was a politician who
Yes.
met in the bathroom. Remember?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
I don't remember his name, but there was that big politician who that happened to him. He was caught in the bathroom with a man looking for a man. Remember?
Yes. Yes. But of course, the fun part is like the bars that had the DJs in the bathroom, whichever bathroom you went into, and then some of the clubs had the unisex bathrooms with the DJs in there, and everybody went in the same bathroom. Why are we fighting over bathrooms now? But you're right.
So,
It's like the men cruising. I remember that the men cruising the rest areas along the highways and the club bathrooms and that kind of thing, and someone got into a lot of trouble, because they were famous,
so you're feeling good. You feel healthy. You're positive about everything, and you feel good about where you're going, even in your life. And what about the in Spokane? As far as I asked you last time, the doctors were good. The healthcare was good. Tell me a little about that while we have time.
Well, I could not ask for better health care, of course. Since I turned 65, I had to change health care plans. I'm going to a different doctor, but they really do take good care of you up here. It really has a good, state funded, if you can't afford to do anything else, like, they provide you your medication, they provide you your services, your visits and all of that. And they'll even give you nutritional advice, and you can go to safe sex, safe sex. Is that what I'm trying to say? Does that sound like how to be careful, how to do that and how to do that safely, and just, anything you need. If you need a ride to the doctor, they will provide that. If you
Wow.
need, anything at all, if you need help with your groceries, they provide that. And, it's just, I can't complain about, the system that we have up here. I really cannot,
Yeah, Palm Beach County, we have amazing resources. I always talk about that. Is that we're such a diversified county. We're very big, but the Palm Beach County is almost as big like the state of Florida. Is so diversified from the Panhandle or North Florida down to Miami and in between. Palm Beach County, I live in Boca, and nobody thinks there's anybody poor or has a problem in Boca because it always looks like money. And then you've got Belgrade, which suffers terribly from people who can't get their rides or can't get on stuff. And so it's only one Palm Beach County, but the diversification as far as travel and then housing, we have a wonderful HIV Care Council, which is kind of the umbrella for organizations, whether they're county or other, other entities. It doesn't matter. The safe places, testing facilities. It's just a marvelous HIV care. They can always Google and check out Palm Beach HIV Care Council, the HIV Care Council of Palm Beach County,
Mhm.
and
Right.
even Campbell Health Solutions, campbellhealth.org are called the number. But we have tremendous resources here, but we also have a very diverse population. And we have a lot of people who
Yes.
have immigrated from other countries with the languages, and we have senior sector, and we have younger people. So we're not, this little village. We're a really very big county,
Right.
and we have a huge amount of HIV and STDs here. At Palm Beach, I think, is the third largest county in the state for HIV and STDs, and I think it's fifth in the nation as such. And it is because of our diversification. But we do have the resources here. What I want to do with this show is be able to promote the resources
Right.
more.
Exactly.
And that's who we have coming on. We have more places in South Florida who want to be on to be able to promote and tell people where they can go for testing, for PrEP, for all this. hospitals, get referrals to the doctors. Legal aid is a big deal here, and getting domestic abuse still exists. So these are issues that are very important to Richardo and myself. And I know that's where the show is.
Right. And we also have a big issue with the homeless and all that. And it's the help is out there, but they have to want the help and they have to ask for the help.
Yes.
But it's there if they need it, and if they want to, if they want help,
I want to say one other thing before I just, in case you do get cut off, I want to say thank you, Philip Porter, for an amazing interview, for the personals, for the friendship, for the honesty, and for caring so much, Philip Porter. Where can they get in touch with you? Is there a way or an email or some way that people could get in touch with you?
Oh, absolutely. It's Philip P. Porter, Philip with one L at gmail.com. Okay, and I'm also on Facebook, and people can find me on Facebook and like that,
right. That's great. Mm-hmm. Philip P. Porter.
Yes. And anybody that wants to reach out, I will reply.
That's wonderful. Yeah, I have, when the show airs also, I'll make sure that I mention it. And I want to thank all of you for watching Positively Positive. I'm Susan Mintz, and I'm always going to be committed to love. And I just want to say thank you, all of you. And whether it's 1 or 1,001 or 1,000,001, you're the one right now that's important, the one watching this show. So if we have a few minutes, fine. If we get cut off.
You do amazing work and don't stop.
No.